Now, the big news, the big old news for today is the Spiel Jahres nominees that were announced for the year 2017. We've got them for you right here, the Spiels and the Jahres. We're going to be talking about mainly the big three nominees. There's some runners-up. If there's any you wanted to talk about these thoughts were interesting, we can, but mainly the big three. So you can see them behind us. They are ones that, as of this recording, have not been released in America yet. I don't think any of these have, but within the next few months, you're going to start to see
I'm sure
them.
as soon as they get that nominee.
They're going to be pushing it, yeah. So the first one is King Domino, and that's Bruno Cathala designed, the guy who did Abyss and Five Tribes and a bunch of others, very, very popular, big designer. And that's like you're all lords trying to expand your kingdoms against each other. Yeah.
Next up, and this is the only one I heard of these three, is Magic Maze. You are actually a group of the classic adventurers, but you lost all your loot. So you are going to the Magic Maze Mall and looting it without getting caught.
Yeah.
So it's a cooperative game, apparently, not turn-based, like live action. I'm totally blanking on the word.
Real time.
Real time, thank you.
Yep.
And pretty much you have to like map up the mall, find which stores you'll want to do, find the exits, and then go for it. Because that's how you're going to get out, by robbing all the stores at the same time.
Yeah, so that one sounds really neat.
I hope it comes with the little sound box like the old malt game you used to play as a kid, your sisters.
Don't tell them I used to play that. It's going to give people the wrong idea. And then the final one is, I'm gonna say it for you right now, Wettlauf nach El Dorado.
Well, you got the last part.
Sure, yeah, I got that one. And this is a Rainer Knizia game, deck building game with, as you can see from the picture, sort of an Indiana Jones-esque theme to it. That I've heard is kind of like Dominion-ish, but I don't know much about it beyond that.
Deck building, El Dorado, you got me.
You got him. You got him. So those are the three big ones. As you said, I mean, I had never heard of any of these. We definitely haven't played these because we really are limited to what's available in America for the most part. At least in this past year, we have been. But it's from the sounds of it, Magic Maze definitely sounds like the most fun to me. The other two kind of sound like, I don't know. Well, their themes aren't grabbing me. But
for the three, I think, first of all, the idea of the mall, it sounds hilarious. I think that's part of the reason that it draws. El Dorado, I'm curious because, I mean, I'm always biased towards deck building games. But I understand that it's one of those mechanisms that when you played, like you said, you played when you played them all. So for a deck building game to get a nominee, I'm very curious.
What it adds, what it brings to the table that's new, yeah.
And I do feel the other two, because, I mean, Magic Maze is, I think, actually has more English rules and stuff to compare to the other two. We might just, because the descriptions we don't know as much.
No, I mean, that's absolutely true. I'm just going on first impressions. I don't know anything about these games, but the idea of the cooperative and real time are two elements that make me much more intrigued by it. Then we also have the three nominees for the Kenner Spiel des Jahres, which is the more complicated award for like bigger, slightly heavier games.
And these we do know all of them.
I mean, we haven't played.
You didn't know
about Raiders.
I knew of.
At any rate, don't speak for me.
I'm sorry.
First up, you can see we've got Exit the Game, which is like an escape room type game. Then there's Raiders of the North Sea, which is a worker placement game with Vikings, and that was just announced that Renegade Game Studios is going to be publishing that sometime next month, I believe, in June. And then Terraforming Mars, that's the one most people probably are familiar with. It has been released for a little while now. It's had a lot of press.
Yeah.
So that makes it. I will say Terraforming Mars, even for this category, seems heavy-ish for them. Usually, like Dominion, for example, was their start into the Kenner Spiel Awards, and that's, I feel, much later than Terraforming Mars.
Well, I think that was also really...
It was a long time ago.
It defined deck building, so that was back when that mechanic was not even, like... Perhaps. So it seems simple now, but...
Perhaps. The other thing I've heard is that Exit is one of those kind of you play it once and you're done games, which is maybe a knock against it or not, depending on how much fun it is.
Well, remember that these most of the judges play the game like once. Because they have to go through so many games, so it's usually like a game a day or something.
Yeah, I mean...
So that might not be as big of a knock as we think it is.
Maybe, I don't know.
And I will say this, the games that they say you can only play once, I don't put as much credit to that because, for example, I'd say Time Source definitely falls into that category. But I've played it once with you, and when I didn't know anything. Then again with my brother and two of my friends. And even though I knew everything, I was still fun because I was like, I just was sort of like not trying to give too much away, but I was being like almost just more role playing it a little bit.
That's fair. I do think most people wouldn't have as much fun with that.
Right.
I also would say Time Stories, compare that to something like the Escape Room board game we played. Would you want to play that again? I think it's,
That's fair.
it
No,
depends.
right. I'm just saying I need to experience it to see. So.
Of course, yeah. Time Stories, if it has more of Time Stories has a little more replayability, I'd say. But I don't know. Again, we haven't actually tried in these for ourselves. Raiders sounds really interesting. There was also the other word that I forget, Kinderspiel.
It's for the
kids.
younger games, yeah.
So you can see what those are. There's a bunch of runner-ups that included some stuff we are more familiar with, like Captain Sonar was on there, the Grizzled. You can see the link below and check out the full list. But I'd be curious to hear if anyone out there has actually had the chance to play some of these, and if they think there are any front runners for this year.
I mean, I'm definitely, at least for that one, I'm really curious about Terraforming Mars because I know one of the things that is interesting, because I've seen some videos saying, like, component-wise, some people have been a little, like, in terms of quality, but still they love the game more than others. So I'm like, if it's able to push beyond, like, not just everything looks pretty, like, if one thing's so bad, but everything, I'm really curious to see what it goes. I mean, Exit is almost like a part of the new locked room.
Right.
Thing. So I mean, if a locker room game's gonna win, it's this year. I don't think we're gonna.
Yeah, I agree with that. It's but this is the last time that gimmick will be fresh. Basically, I think that's true. Yeah, it should be interesting, and certainly no matter who wins, all three of those nominees for each category are going to become much more well-known. I'm sure we're going to have a chance to try them out.
Oh, I'm sure we're going to do our best to try to play them all so we can actually tell you our opinions on them.
Yeah, that would be nice.
I'm definitely, I feel a bit more excited than last year.
Huh. Well, last year I feel like there were more that we had actually heard of.
Right.
This year, it seems to go like on and off, whether or not I'm familiar with the nominees or not. It's like a grab bag, but soon enough we will be. So again, give us your thoughts and find the full list of those games below. If you enjoyed this video, it was just a snippet of our full-length podcast, which you can find on our YouTube channel every week. So please go ahead, like, and subscribe for more board game related content coming at you in the future.
And don't forget to check out rollforcrit.com, where we actually sell a lot of the games we talked about, as well as post news and all our other videos. Until then, I'm Will Keeler.
I'm Jonathan Estes, and this is Roll for Crit.